as someone that's kind of already made it, I guess I have most of the things that all young guys want. I bought my dream car. I have multiple cars. My other cars aren't here, but my G-Wagon is typically behind the McLaren. I bought all my dream watches. This is a cheap Rolex that I have on today, but I bought the more fancy, expensive ones. You'll see that in other videos. But now that I've done what most people consider making it, and I have plenty of money, I don't need more money than what I have right now to live an incredible life, to live in supreme safety, to eat where I want, to pretty much do everything that I want outside of buying like fucking yachts and everything else. I was reminded of who I used to be. I was just a regular ass 17-year-old kid that had no idea what I was doing with my life. Just lost, confused. I worked at an ice cream shop and I was a high school dropout. So it's weird how things come full circle. It's 4 years later and now I've actually made it. And I'm making this video basically just for myself 4 years ago. So if you're pretty much in the position that I was in 4 years ago, or even if you're just early on in the journey, maybe you're only making a couple $1,000s a month online, maybe you haven't even started, it doesn't matter, this video is for you. So I'm gonna give you my formula. I'm gonna give you my equation. I'm gonna give you exactly the 3 pillars and the 3 steps, the kind of framework that I followed that have actually allowed me to get to where I am today. Because I truly believe that if I was not rooted in these 3 steps, I would not be where I am today, okay? So the first thing that you need to do if you want to be successful is you need to define it, okay? And this is so important because so many people just have like this idea of what success is. Maybe you're like, I'm just going to be rich. Okay, define it. Like, how much are you making a year? How much of that money do you spend? What car do you drive? What type of house do you live in? Do you live in a luxury apartment? Is it a condo? Literally, you need to have a vision for exactly what you want your life to look like. Not like kind of close. No, like down to a science. Like, what area are you living in? What things are there to do in the area? Even if you're dead broke right now. Imagine your goal is to live in Miami, Florida. I don't want to live there. I'm just saying, let's say that's your goal. Start looking at apartments in Miami, Florida. Luxury apartments. Figure out which one you want to live in, regardless of the cost. Figure out what things there are to do in the area. What stores are there over there? What are you actually going to do on a day-to-day basis? And how much are you reasonably going to spend based upon how much money you make? So let's say you say, I make $1 million a year. And my apartment costs me $80,000 a year. And food costs me this much a year. Like, literally write everything out. And then ask yourself, how much extra do I have? So outside of all of my, expenses, how much extra money do I have for investments? Because I'm abundant and I have plenty of extra, right? Define it, define it, define it. Define how much money you want to make, where you're going to live, how you want to live. All the above needs to be defined. Now, the second thing that you need to do is you need to ask yourself a super, super valuable question. This is your why. Why is it going to be worth it on the days that I'm struggling? Why is it going to be worth it on the days that the journey is damn near impossible? See how it just got dark during this part of me talking about this? Why is it going to be worth struggling on every single day that I don't want to work? Because the reality is you're going to wake up 8 days out of 10 not wanting to work. You're going to wake up 7 days out of 10 exhausted. You're going to wake up, I'm telling you, like, get ready for this. Because as you start on the journey, it's very easy to lose sight of that end goal because we as humans are primed for comfort. As soon as you step out of your comfort zone, you're going to feel this internal sensation that's like, this sucks. I could just go back to my old comfortable life. You need to fight that motherfucking inner bitch off every single day. And it is hard, but you need to do it if you want to succeed. So every time you get that feeling of quit, you need to ask yourself, why is having all those things that are on the opposite side of everything that I need to go through right now going to be worth struggling and sacrificing for? Because what I will say, every time I see people just set their goals as some like material thing, and they're like, I want a McLaren, I want $1 million house, I want a G-Wagon, I want an Aston, I want all these Rolexes, I want this. When you just set your goals in things that are material, once you get like one nice material thing, you know what the feeling of buying something that you want feels like. It's not even the thing that you really want, it's the feeling of getting the thing or experiencing the thing. So you start to ask yourself when you're going through hard shit, like, what's the point of me even really doing this? The why needs to be stronger than just material items. So it needs to be like, yo, I want to retire my mom and dad, and this is why I want to do it. They put everything into me my whole life. This is how I pay it forward. I want to have money for my future family. I want to make sure that my kid grows up and lives a life that I never got to live. These are really strong reasons that you can root, where it's like the McLarens and the watches and the this and the that are all going to be extra. But I'm rooted in this really deep mission. God wants to see me at my very best. He doesn't want me to be lazy, right? So these are the things that I always thought about when I was really just questioning myself, doubting myself. To this day, I have to come back to my why. You see that old meme of Deontay Wilder where he's like, to this day? That's me, bro, every fucking day. Sometimes I'm working and I'm like, dude, why am I still trying to get to 8 figures? I'm already making enough money. Why am I trying to go further? And then I root myself back in my why, and I just talk back to my inner bitch, and I'm like, all right, we're back on the mission. We're right back like we never left. So the first thing you need to do, you need to define what kind of life you want to live. The second thing you need to do is you need to define the why. Why is it going to be worth all the headache and the struggle? And the third thing you need to do is you need to figure out the how. How are you going to get the money that creates the life that you actually want to live? Like the first thing that you're trying to describe. And for me, I'll just tell you, it was starting a marketing agency. I started a business where I resell Go High Level to local businesses. I run a real business. You can see the link to it. It's called Del Priori Hospitality. It's a multi-million-dollar marketing agency where we resell Go High Level to local businesses. That's the business model that set me free. And if you're thinking about starting or what business model, or you're just lost, I purposely created a free course for people that are just early on in the journey that don't know what clear direction they want to take. And it's over 20 hours long. I'm literally giving away the whole framework for how I built a multi-million-dollar business in that program. There's a link to it in the description. There's no credit card. There's no catch. You can have that for free. And the reason I created that is because I wanted to give that back to people like myself 4 years ago that didn't have that level of clear direction, that didn't have a blueprint. I always told myself, if I just had a guide, if I just had something that I could follow, it would make everything easier. Because I got to a point where I was reading books every day, I was hitting the gym every day, but then I was trying to figure out, if you have the how and you have the why and you have everything else dialed in, but you don't have the right business model, then it's damn near impossible to figure out how you're gonna go forward and get everything else figured out. So what I decided upon was to create this guide, to create this blueprint so that people can follow, so that they don't need to reinvent the wheel. I got to a point where I was, like I said, hitting the gym, reading books, had all the right habits. And then I'm like, well, now when does the money come, right? You need to have a business model to do that. You need to acquire customers. You need to get good at marketing. You need to get good at sales. You need to get good at operations. I'm not the guy that's going to sit here and lie to you and be like, once you just bring yourself to a higher state, the money comes. No. When you manifest and you bring yourself to a higher state by saying, this is where I live, this is what I drive, this is what I have. When you bring yourself to a higher state, that type of person is now going to go out and find the business model and work hard on that business model and not give up. So what you need to understand is that bringing yourself to actually take a jump and take a leap of faith, once you've figured out where you want to live, what you want to drive, what you want to eat, where you hit the gym, and then you draw out all the reasons why you going through all the struggle is going to be worth it, and you couple that with a good business model and a blueprint that you can follow, and you take massive action towards that business, how the hell are you going to fail? How are you going to fail? Like, even if luck was a thing, don't you think that by you doing all those things, if rich people were just lucky, you've now put yourself in a position where you're going to be the luckiest motherfucker alive? I think so. Everyone can have their opinion, but I think so. And I've never seen anyone that genuinely dedicated themselves and followed this blueprint not succeed. It's not that hard to win if you have a blueprint and a good mindset. So this video was for me 4 years ago. If you're early on in the journey, I'm genuinely talking to you, and I want you to know that I am no different than you. I started a little bit sooner and I stuck to it. That's about it. Stop thinking that you can't actually make these things happen inside of your life. Stop assuming that everyone that you watch online is just so much smarter than you. They know so much more than you. Get these negative ass assumptions out of your head. They're only holding you back. Go work.